What's happening with the Seattle real estate market? Rates are starting to go back up again. Let's talk about it. As always, I'm Bryce Greenleaf, local real estate broker here in the greater Seattle area. Love helping you guys out, those of you that are looking to buy or sell a home here in the Seattle metropolitan area. Feel free to reach out to me if there's anything I can do to help. But today I'm going to give you the market update for this month, as we do every month. Dive into the numbers, show you which way the trends are going, and surprisingly, interest rates have ticked back up again here over the last week. So let's look at those and try and figure out where we might be heading for the rest of this year. All right, so I first want to talk about the mortgage rates. Let's jump into my screen here. Let's look at what is happening with these rates. So Mortgage News Daily here. You can see we've talked about this in a lot of my previous videos. We got a peak of 8% interest rates in late 2023. As we moved through this year, we've had quite a bit of fluctuation in those rates. The rates hit their peak this year at 7.5% in the springtime. Now, what was surprising is in the springtime, we had quite a bit of action in the market. Quite a few bidding wars and things happening despite those rates being in the sevens. Since then, we steadily trended down, and this was a great sign for buyers that wanted to enter the market but were waiting for rates to get lower. They had trended down through the second half of this year. And just recently, last month, which I made a video on, we hit those lows of just over 6% for those average US rates. There were people getting rates in the high fives. Now, what's interesting is over the last week, we've had a little bit of a jump in those rates. Now, the Fed, of course, reduced their rate in their recent meeting. A lot of those that decrease in mortgage rates had already been baked in. So people were wondering why after that Fed rate cut, we didn't also see another big reduction in those mortgage rates, where those mortgage rates were already baked in based on that projection that those Fed rates were going to go down. So we have seen a little bit of a jump again here, back up to close to 6.6% for those average US rates. It'll be interesting to see where this continues to go for the rest of this year. If we look at some predictions done by both Fannie Mae, MBA, and Wells Fargo to see where they think rates might go heading into next year, they all seem optimistic that rates will continue to drop. You can see Q3 2024 here. We are at about 6.6, which is what Fannie Mae had projected. This is from last week, this projection. All three of them are projecting a steadily, decrease through next year. We're going to get potentially into the fives by late Q1, Q2, they're all thinking. And then by the end of next year, potentially getting anywhere from 5.5 to 5.8% based on these projections. Now, projections are not always true, but this is just interesting to see where they think these rates might head, what direction they are going to head in. Now, if we dive into the specific numbers on what's been happening in our market to see what changes are going on, if you're thinking about entering the market right now versus waiting until the spring, there's a couple interesting things that have happened this month that we didn't expect when we were looking at things last month. I'd kind of mentioned them, but let's jump into it. Let's first look at this median sales price. So this is King County. Let's just add Snohomish County here so we can get a look at both of them. So that median home price, let's go to we'll keep it on the 3-year trend. So that median home price right here in King County is $859. In Snohomish County, it's $749. And you can see we have had that seasonal kind of plateau, somewhat of a little bit of a drop through here. Snohomish County has actually gone up in price from $741 to $745 to $749 the last few months. So it's pretty close to plateauing. I mean, those are not big jumps in prices, and that median home price can fluctuate month to month without any, of course, showing any major change. So we've really plateaued in those prices, which is what you would expect this time of year. If we look at the amount of new inventory coming on the market, this is actually where we've had a little bit of a surprise in King County. You can see we started trending down from May, which is always pretty much the peak of every year. And we started trending down here from 4,200 new listings in May to 3,000 new listings in August. That is on on pace with what normally happens. And then we had a jump again, over 600 or nearly 600 new listings in King County from August to September. Now you can see that same trend if we look at 2022. From August to September, you see that same trend where it jumped up, and then a little bit less so, but also in last year, August to September, we saw a little bit of a jump. Then we can go back to 2021 and see the same thing. So that's not abnormal. And we saw that, of course, primarily in King County here. Down here in Snohomish County, we trended down steadily, kind of plateaued a little bit. The reason that you see this jump often is people rushing to get their home on the market that want to sell this year, rushing to get it on the market before it's too late. And a lot of people do not want to sell in November and December because of the holidays and things just really slow down. And so they kind of rush like, hey, if we're going to sell the house, we've got to get it on the market now in September. So that's why you can kind of see that jump in those new homes coming on the market. Let's look at the total homes for sale here, month by month. So you can see as we started this year, we steadily trended up, and we are still in King County specifically on an upward direction of the total of homes for sale. In September, we had just over 5,800 in King County, and in Snohomish County, about 1,700. Now, Snohomish County, you can see, has completely plateaued the last few months. Not much change at all for those total homes for sale. In King County, we have seen that jump, and that does correlate with those new listings that we saw over the last month from August to September, now getting into October. Now, pending sales, this is going to give us an idea of that activity in the market, what buyers are doing and how many are out, how active they are. Now, this is also very interesting. In King County specifically here, you can see that jump again from August to September for those pending sales. Now, I think a big reason for this jump is those rates. When those rates came down to 6%, and there was a lot of people locking in the high fives, getting 5.8, 5.9% for their interest rate, that had a number of new people come out into the market and be like, okay, this is the time that I want to buy while this rate is where it is. And they locked in that interest rate in the high fives, low sixes. So that caused us to see this jump. You don't see that in previous years like we do with the new listings number with people rushing to get their home on the market that we just talked about. You don't see that jump necessarily in previous years from August to September. You can see a drop in all of the previous years, because that buyer activity typically slows down quite a bit. So this is showing a lot of people, specifically in King County, that recognized, hey, this can be a very good opportunity for me. Let's jump into the market and let's find a house. Now, we saw that in King County. Like I said, in Snohomish County, it stayed pretty stagnant, just kind of stayed on that plateau. Snohomish County is going to be less volatile on all of the numbers because it doesn't have as many of the Bellevues and the Kirklands and the Bothels and the Seattle, some of the really busy markets with a lot more fluctuation happening with people entering and leaving the market. And then if we look at the closed sales, of course, that number is going to go down. Now, this month, this stat, closed sales, is a month lagging as opposed to the pending sales. So we should see in King County, instead of trending down again as we do this video next month, we should see this line start to go back up with those pending sales from September now going to be closing in October. And then again, Snohomish County has just plateaued. Days on market is an interesting stat to look at, and this is also showing some opportunity for buyers in this time of year. Is, as we got into the peak of the season, spring of this year, the spring of every year, that peak is the lowest days on market number because homes are selling for much faster. So on average, it was a couple of weeks in both King and Snohomish County, 16, 17, 18 days. As of right now, we've almost doubled, not quite, but we're at 25 and 27 days, average days on market in King and Snohomish County. And this does absolutely ring true with what I'm seeing in the market as I'm helping clients on a daily basis. Is there are more homes that are sitting. There are, more opportunities to not have to enter into bidding wars in every area. King, Snohomish, Pierce County, all throughout the Seattle metropolitan area. There has been a lot of listings that are priced right, are priced well, and they just do not sell right away because the demand hasn't been as great. Now, especially with rates going from 6 to 6.2% to now this jump that we've had this week up to 6.5, 6.6 on the average US rate, that is also going to cause that to go even more, to cause those days on market to go up even higher. So, specifically in Snohomish County, I know there's a lot of homes available that are priced right, that are sitting on the market just waiting for the right buyer because those bidding wars are almost non-existent at this point. Same with a lot of areas in King County. As you get to the east side, there's still some pockets and some price points where there's a bit more activity and there's a few offers on a lot of the homes. But in general, it is not the high-paced competitive market that we've seen in many seasons past. Now, if we talk about what we should expect over the next 3 to 6 months or so, I previously made a video on my channel that if you want to go back and check out, it really evaluates, I dive deep into the numbers and the annual trends to try and compare buying in the fall versus buying or selling in the spring. And what it shows you on that video, if you take a look at it, is on average, prices go up 18% from our low point in prices, which is Q4 of any given year, to our high point in prices, which is about May of any given year. So from November, December until May, on average, those prices, those median home prices go up 18% based just on the stats that we have here. So you are going to have more activity come into the market as we get into next year, February, March, April, May. I expect, depending what direction rates go, you can't imagine rates continuing to go back up. But, you can see these projections that maybe rates could get into the high 5s, low 6s. And if it kind of stays around that area, I would expect the spring to be relatively busy and to return to some of those bidding wars that, again, we had this past spring and in some spring markets past. So just keep that in mind. If you're somebody that's thinking about entering the market, whether you're a buyer or a seller, if you're a seller and you can wait until the springtime, that might be the best route for you to go because you might be able to maximize that sales price compared to what you might get today. If you are a buyer looking to enter the market, you might have more opportunity financially over the next few months than you will in the spring because it just might be more competitive. Now, of course, that inventory is going to be lower right now than it will be in March, April, May. So if you can find the right home over the next few months, it could provide a good opportunity for you. All right, well, hopefully this one was helpful for you. Like I said, I am an active real estate broker here in the greater Seattle area. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home over here, always happy to help you out. You can contact me at my info in the description. Thanks for watching this one.